Good evening and welcome to Punchline. I am Ann Kang'ata. Tonight, ugly scenes were witnessed in Kenol, Muranga as Kieleweke and Kang'ata camps clashed, leaving 2 people dead. The DP's allies pointed an accusing finger at the Muranga women rep Sabina Shege and Governor Mwangi Wairia, alleging that they organized and funded the chaos. And so tonight, we focus on the tensions in the Jubilee Party that have degenerated to violence as a power struggle to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta continues. We're speaking tonight to Jubilee Vice Chair David Murade. I believe we have his empty seat right there. He's going to fill it very shortly. And also tonight on the program, the way out of COVID-19 for counties as the health emergency continues to pose an economic threat to Kenyan families. Governor Professor Anyang' Nyong'o of the Lakeside City will be joining us as well. David Murade taking his seat as well. The ring is already heating up. Punchline begins right now with a look at our top stories tonight. Two dead, scores injured as Kieleweke and Kang'ata camps clash in Muranga. ODM leader Raila Odinga hits back at the deputy president, saying he's hoodwinking Kenyans with cheap giveaways. Release the funds. Council of Governors decry the ongoing cash crunch at the counties. And on Punchline tonight, straight shooter David Murade sets the record straight on Jubilee wars. Good to have you with us. We begin with unfortunate news. 2 people were killed and scores injured after Kieleweke and Kang'ata groups clashed in Kenol town, Muranga County, where Deputy President William Ruto was attending a funds drive. It's alleged that 2 buses carrying youth arrived in the town early morning and proceeded to the AIPCA church, where the youth began an altercation with locals. The Deputy President, who arrived moments later, accused state operatives of being behind the incident. Gives a minor now reports.
Deputy President William Ruto's visit to Muranga County was almost cut short on Sunday morning as youths allegedly sponsored by politicians landed in Kenol town and caused chaos, leading to death of 2 people and several injuries. Confirming the incident, Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutambai, in a statement, promised to unearth and bring to book the perpetrators. The ugly scenes further ensued in the church as police tear-gassed the congregants, forcing the service to stop at some point, with leaders wondering where tear-gas canisters were being thrown into the church. Moments later, Deputy President William Ruto arrived, receiving a warm welcome.
Fortunately, Your Excellency, tunawajua.
The DP and his allies largely blamed state operatives of misusing the police to bring disarray in his meetings, noting that it was a long moment for the Jubilee government.
It is a woman that is elected by the people of Muranga. Na yeye mwenyewe anajua alipeleka pesa pale Thika Greens na akalipa ndio kazi ya leo ifanyike.
Serikali ya Jubilee tuliounda kwa magoti kanisani tukiomba Mungu, haiwezi kuwa ndio serikali inakuja kupiga tear gas ati kanisa na madhabahu. That cannot be.
After the church service, the DP took the Hustler Nation politics to Kenol town, where he told of Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju and Vice Chairperson David Murade over remarks that the DP be ejected from his position as Deputy Party Leader in Jubilee, saying the 2 are reaping from where they had not sowed.
Ati wananiambia ati wanataka kutufukuza kutoka Jubilee. Mwingine sijui alitoka wapi. Alafu kuna huyu mwingine sijui anaitwa nani huyu? Huyu mlevi huyu mwenye Sijui alitoroka kwa riha kama nini. Huyo. Ati huyo sasa anatuambia tutoke kwa Jubilee. Mimi nauliza nyinyi watu wa Muranga. Mimi nauliza nyinyi watu wa Muranga. Jameni, muliniona siku ile tulikuwa tunatafuta kura ya Uhuru Kenyatta? Muliniona siku ile tulikuwa tunatafuta kura ya Jubilee? Nilikuwepo ama sikukuwepo? Wao ndio wanafaa kuwa Jubilee ama ni mimi?
The shameful incident has since attracted condemnation from various leaders across the country.
Watu wameweza kukorofishana kwa sababu si nyingine ni ile siasa ya pale kwa pale. Watu wanahofiana ya kwa mmoja atakuwa hayuko katika uongozi ama anataka mwingine awe katika uongozi, na mimi nawaambia uongozi unachaguliwa na Mola.
We are sickened by blatant manifestations of hatred and intolerance, including by public figures.
Mimi nataka niwaulize viongozi wenzangu, my friends, viongozi wenzangu, tuheshimu wananchi. Kama wewe ni kiongozi na wewe unataka kufanya fujo, tafuta bibi yako, tafuta bwana yako, tafuta mtoto wako, peleka kwa fujo. Waachana na mahasla hawa. Mahasla hawa wanajitafutia.
Muranga County is, however, not new to political brawls, as leaders from Kieleweke and Tangatanga have clashed severally in a display of their political muscle.
Viongozi wengine wanapanga, wanakuja katika kaunti ya Muranga, alafu wanakuja kuanza kutaja majina. Ukienda katika altar ya Mungu katika kanisa, kwa nini utumie altar kudanganyana na kutaja majina ya watu na jambo ambalo hulijui?
Give us mana for Punchline.
Well, Muranga Senator Irungu Kang'ata, who is also the majority whip in the Senate, joins us now. What a terrible and needless loss of life today. And tonight, the DP's camp is laying blame squarely on Muranga's Kieleweke leaders, accusing them of organizing and funding this chaos that led to the death of two, arguably, Jubilee supporters. Is this what it has come to in Jubilee? Blows to the death?
Let me first express my condolences to the family and friends of those two young persons who have died today in Kenol. It's too unfortunate. I think Muranga is not known for such violence. We are only witnessing this now. It's so, so sad. And I would be urging my colleagues and other political players in that county to exercise politics of peace, to exercise restraint. As to whether this is now what is becoming of Jubilee Party, I think this is so unfortunate. I am aware that the police are currently investigating the cause and the perpetrators of that violence. I hope they'll be able to give us a good way forward.
But you are a Muranga leader, and it is the Muranga leadership, particularly the Kieleweke camp, that has been accused of organizing this. Of course, your name wasn't mentioned, including by the Deputy President's supporters, but they very categorically singled out the women rep and the governor for plotting this chaos, and also claimed a hand of the Ministry of Interior. Your response to those allegations?
Personally, I'll be interested to see the evidence on that basis, which maybe one would make such kind of a conclusion. But without such evidence, personally, I wouldn't be minded to make such kind of a conclusion. Be that as it may, let me say that if you are indeed an ardent supporter of President Uhuru Kenyatta, you wouldn't take such kind of a strategy. I think doing that, meting violence against your perceived opponent clearly, you are aiding that person, because you're only enabling that person to play what we call victim politics. To me, I strongly believe Kenyatta is a person who supports peaceful politics. He's a person who wants to focus on development. He's a person who cannot mobilize his supporters to use violence against his perceived political enemies. And therefore, I can vouch that those who support President Uhuru Kenyatta ought not and should not, and I'm sure they did not plan that violence in Muranga County. It's not worth it in any event.
No, it's
For
absolutely
me,
not
life
worth it.
is more than in a political position.
Okay. There is, however, growing concern that the battle for the control of central Kenya could see the region become a hotspot for political violence. Does the region need, is it Sagana 4, and by that I mean the direct intervention of the president to stop any further degeneration into violence?
Definitely that central Kenya, by virtue that it appears that we shall be the bloc that is going to decide the next president, there will be a lot of politics in that region. And Muranga occupies a vantage position in that entire matrix in 2022. No wonder you are finding a lot of political heat in Muranga County. As to whether we need another Sagana, yes, indeed. Not only Sagana, I think all meetings need to be done to make that region more peaceful, to bring all leaders together, and we rally behind President Uhuru Kenyatta. He achieves his agenda, and we unite.
You think the president should speak up about it?
Pardon?
You think the president should speak out about this, should somehow go to his backyard and appeal for calm?
Yeah, not only the president. I think every Kenyan, every leader from that region should be rallying every person to rally behind peace, to ensure you are united. We focus on development, we stop politicking, and we stop violence. I think no one deserves to die because of politics. What I'm seeing in our region and in my beloved county is something that is not good at all. We shouldn't allow fights to be occurring in the beautiful land of Muranga County.
The inroads that the Deputy President has made in the region, however, are undeniable, and it seems to boil down to two things, if I hear the argument correctly. Residents seeming to say that they believe in handshake one, that one between the President and his deputy, and that they owe the Deputy President some kind of support for standing by the President. And the second argument being that this general expression that the Gatanga MP Moses Kuria has often referred to as the region feeling unloved by its son, the President. Is that the sum of what is going on, of the contestation in central Kenya? And where does that leave the party in terms of its grassroots support in its core base?
Let me first correct that MP for Gatanga is not Moses Kuria. I think MP for Gatanga is
Yes,
Duarte.
of course, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Right.
And then secondly, let me say that the region has not been neglected by President Uhuru Kenyatta. In fact, from where I see it, President Uhuru Kenyatta has done a lot for that region, in particular Muranga County. If I was to start to enumerate the many roads, the many water projects that personally I've been going there to launch and to inspect on behalf of His Excellency, they are just too many. And therefore, those saying that that region is going away or will go away because of neglect in development is not true. We have lots of projects which are currently going on in that region. And by the way, not only that region, the entire Kenya. But because I come from that region, I can be able to pinpoint out those projects. I think for me, President Uhuru Kenyatta has done a very good job in that region, and we are very happy for the performance of his government in particular.
That's interesting you say that, because the president himself at Sagana castigated, the last Sagana, castigated Mount Kenya leaders, saying that he was not elected alone, but together with, you know, the six-piece, if you like, the six-piece suit, senators, MPs, governors, etc. And he said this in response to those specific claims of underdevelopment in the region, which had caused residents to be disgruntled. So going by even the president's own argument and the headway that the deputy president has made in central Kenya, is this not then a reflection on the area's leaders having failed to deliver their mandate under Jubilee and for Kenyans?
Yes, I agree with that point, with that statement and the insinuation contained therein. It is true that President Uhuru Kenyatta is not the only president who has been elected in that region. We have the MCAs, the governors, the members of parliament. Some of them superintend billions of shillings, let's say the region governors. And therefore, even as we complain about development, we should not only focus on President Uhuru Kenyatta, we should be asking members of parliament who control CDF, should be asking governors who control county kitties, what have they done for that region. And therefore, it is true. President Kenyatta is just one political player in that region. We have other elected leaders who control billions for development, who we should also be questioning what are they doing for that region.
All right. I just want to wind up on the turn of political messaging. And area leaders and indeed the so-called Kieleweke leaders appear to be playing catch-up with the hustler narrative, where the deputy president, who is a man of vast means, has branded himself a hustler and appears to have managed to disassociate himself from the failures of a government which up until some time last year he was clearly co-chairing. Is his capture of the economic pain that Kenyans are feeling just too good for you to beat in terms of narrative?
For me, from where I sit, those of us who are supporting President Uhuru Kenyatta, we should think a little bit more deeper. We should look where we can draw best political lessons so that we can ensure that we support his legacy and we come up with ideas that resonate with the people. And therefore, for me, I have no doubt that we shall definitely deliver the legacy of the president. Remember, President Uhuru Kenyatta is not going to be a candidate in 2022, and therefore we are not really in competition with anyone. We are not competing for the presidency. All that we want for the president is to ensure he has a positive legacy. That's it. And therefore, the issue of saying so-and-so has a leg up in Central is neither here nor there. That doesn't bother us. What bothers us is when we see people dying, when we see chaos in our county, when we see people who are not focusing on development. To me, that may bother me. But as to whether you are campaigning to become the president and therefore you are using certain political branding, to me, well, Kenya is a democracy. Right. We have to allow everyone to come up with ideas which can propel him to the presidency. But to us, we urge everyone to concentrate on development.
Muranga Senator Kang'ata, thanks for speaking to us. We'll be delving deeper into Jubilee's wars a little later in the program with David Murathe. But first, ODM leader Raila Odinga has hit back at Deputy President William Ruto's donations to Kenyans, which he says are aimed at hoodwinking the masses. Raila further took a swipe at the deputy president, accusing him of taking advantage of the poor to gain political mileage. Raila further took issue with the hustler nation's politics, and in particular the deputy president, for his endless politicking instead of working with the president to develop the nation. The attacks come despite what seemed to be a cordial engagement when the two leaders met yesterday at the Nyayo National Stadium during the Kenol Classic event. This comes even as the former premier reiterated that the final BBI report would be released soon.
Sasa kuna wengine ambayo wamekuwa msimu ya kwanza ya serikali huru walikuwa huko. Msimu ya pili wako huko. Unasema sasa ni wanataka kuokoa Wakenya. Miaka 7 wamekuwa kwa serikali, umefanya nini? Ndio sasa wakati ukiangalia kutoka imefika, nasema sasa ndio ukombozi ya wanyonge. Anza kukomboa wanyonge namna gani?
We give you this country to be the head of this country. I don't think there will be anybody who allow to give the mantle to a thief and the person who has been stealing in this country. Hakuna mtu atapeana hiyo kwa mtu ambaye anajulikana mambo yake na ila gani.
Away from politics, Kenyans watched in dismay as world marathon record holder Eliud Kipchoge finished in 8th place at the London Marathon, with Ethiopia finishing 1st and 3rd in an unbelievable race. But all was not lost for Team Kenya, as Bridget Kosgei retained her London Marathon title with a commanding performance around St. James's Park. Our sports reporter Chris Migwambo watched the action and filed the following report.
Kipchoge has got to find something here.
The 40th edition of the London Marathon ended in tears as world men's marathon record holder and London Marathon defending champion Eliud Kipchoge ate a humble piece of pie as his invisibility in marathon was swept away in full glare of fans all over the world.
All great champions have their off days.
Kipchoge dropped behind a leading group of 6 men in the 24th mile and never regained contact, finishing 8th after 2 hours, 6 minutes and 49 seconds.
I'm really disappointed. I thought I could run better, but I had a problem with my right here actually blocked all the way, all the halfway. It was really blocked, and I don't know what happened.
using those long legs, but Kang'ata's not finished.
In a year of uncertainty, Ethiopian Shura Kang'ata was crowned the new London Marathon men's category champion after he won in 2 hours, 5 minutes and 41 seconds.
And it's Shura Kang'ata. The time is an irrelevance, but what a win and what a way to do it.
Kenya's Vincent Kipchumba came home second after 2 hours, 5 minutes and 42 seconds. Ethiopian Sisei Lema was third after 2 hours, 5 minutes and 45 seconds, while Kenya's Benson Kipruto finished seventh in 2 hours, 6 minutes and 42 seconds, just 5 seconds ahead of Kipchoge in eighth.
Turn to find out that it doesn't always go according to plan in the marathon. The defending champion became the youngest ever female able-bodied elite winner last year.
Meanwhile, in the women's category, World Women Marathon record holder Bridget Kosgei retained her London Marathon title with a commanding performance on a wet road over 19 laps around St. James Park to triumph in 2 hours, 18 minutes and 58 seconds. Running her first marathon since setting the world record of 2 hours, 14 minutes and 4 seconds in Chicago, Kosgei ran alongside compatriot Ruth Chepngetich until around the 20-mile mark when she forged clear to open a lead of about 50 meters within a couple of minutes. However, American Sarah Hall produced an incredible finish to snatch second place from world champion Chepngetich in 2 hours, 22 minutes and 01 seconds to Chepngetich's 2 hours, 22 minutes and 05 seconds. The 2020 London Marathon was rescheduled from its traditional April date because of the coronavirus pandemic, with the marathon only open to elite athletes running without funds. Kosgei's win led to joy, song and dance in Eldoret and Nairobi, only to be disappointed by Kipchoge's defeat.
Imekuwa nzuri sana according to the basis, lakini shida ni hii wakati msimu wa corona nikaa Kipchoge alikula sana, lakini itakuwa tu sawa. Lazima kukuwe na mshindi na mshindani.
Tumefurahia mbio, ingawaje Kipchoge vile tunaona labda alikosa nguvu.
For Punchline, I'm Chris Migwambo.
Wow, unbelievable. All right, time for us to take a short break on Punchline. On the other side of this break, David Murathe, the president's man, Jubilee vice chair. He claims he doesn't speak for the president, but we have our suspicions. He's going to be joining us and talking about the Jubilee wars, which seem to have turned deadly after the Muranga incident. Talking to him in a short while, and later on, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, governor of the lakeside city, Kisumu. He speaks to us on the way forward for counties which are still experiencing a cash crunch. And of course, a way out of COVID. That and much more coming up. Stay with us. This is Punchline.